Good evening, welcome to Monza, guys. We are here today for the FRL Racing League PlayStation 5 Pro-Am Mixed Class Pure Sim Gear Super Sprint Sunday at Monza. I hope you're all well, having a fantastic weekend and looking forward to some good racing tonight. We've got an absolute legendary track tonight, Monza. We all know Monza so well. It's going to hopefully throw up some really interesting couple of races tonight. Going to be some drama. I'd imagine there's going to be drama at turn 1 and probably the second chicane, but we're here, Monza. It's a cracking racetrack, and hopefully we've got 2 cracking races in store for you all tonight. So thank you for joining the live stream, and if you are watching it back later on this evening, please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more live streams for the Super Sprint Sunday in the future. Because just to whet your appetite a little bit, after tonight we are heading stateside as the final races of the season. We are heading to America for the new tracks. So we've got some absolutely brilliant racing to come for the rest of the season. So tonight, as you'll see, about 6 minutes of free practice left after drivers are just finishing their setups and getting dialed into the track. We've then got qualifying, which is going to be split into Pro and Am, so 2 sections within qualifying for the 2 different classes, and then we have the usual format of 2 sprint races of 30 minutes of each. I'll bring you the championship standings as well in a very short moment, just before we're heading to qualifying. And tonight, I'm pleased to announce we're going to be joined in the commentary box by Axel Racing. Mark Conway will be joining us in the commentary box tonight to give me his best impression of Martin Brundle. I was going to say Ted Kravitz, but you know he tends to get in trouble nowadays, so we'll stay with Martin Brundle. I'll be Crofty, he'll be Brundle. So, for the championship standings, people, we have for the 2 tiers to run you down the top 10 of each one. So, the guy who's currently leading free practice with the fastest time so far of 1 minute 49.1, he is your championship leader. EOS Storico currently leads the championship with 328 points. He has a gap of 7 points to Rob 2K. Rob is currently lying in 5th place in practice, but you can't really read too much into the practice times at the moment. So the key thing there, guys, is to note there's only a 7-point gap between Storico and Rob. That's going to be really interesting to see how that battle continues tonight at Monza. And then heading up the 3rd place is David. He is on 275, so that is a gap of 53 points to Storico. So it's a gap of 53, but you know, all it takes is Storico to have a bad race or 2, and that gap comes down quite sharply. So continuing on from David, in 4th we have EOS Moss, who is also in the Audi. We've got Ams in 5th, Nico in 6th, Ben Milden in 7th. We've got Chris in 8th, 9th is Elysium, and then 10th is GT Jamie. And then for the Am class, now there's no surprises here. Answers on a postcard. The championship leader so far is Das Cool, and as you'll see by his practice time, he's a very quick guy. He's currently leading that tier by 113 points. So I think if I was a bookmaker, I'll be probably offering you quite short odds if you're putting money on him to bring the championship home. But we've seen stranger things happen. Anyway, moving on from Das, in 2nd place you've got Frank. As I said, he's 113 points behind, and then Shadow Lancer rounds off the top 3. Beyond them, you've got Nspecs in 4th, MPL is in 5th, Ryan in 6th, Lego Man in 7th, Morex 8th, Gilas 22 in 9th, and Palamoid in 10th. So that is your top 10 for Tier 2 AM class. So, a couple of minutes to go for free practice before we jump straight into qualifying. If you haven't already done so, get yourself a cup of tea or a beer, your drink of choice, a nice snack, and book yourself in for a good hour or so of Super Sprint Sunday racing. I'll be back with you in about 30 seconds or so. And I'm back, guys. So for those of you who have seen the latest news on Discord this week, you would have seen a big announcement that FRL have teamed up with SOP Motorsports. So what that involves is the two leagues will be running alongside each other, racing together in future on both PC and console. But for the console, us here on the PlayStation, SOP or SOP won't be running their own console leagues in the future, so a lot of their drivers, if you are watching tonight or watching the stream back at some point in the future, welcome if you have made the jump across to FRL, and we look forward to racing with you on track with us. Hopefully you'll find the races here are just as competitive and of course fun. There's some extremely quick guys here at FRL, as you will see so tonight. I believe actually there could be a few SOP guys in racing tonight as reserves. I believe so anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's a couple of new guys racing tonight. So as you'll see, the flag has just dropped for practice. We've just got to wait a couple of minutes for the server to reset. Conditions, we're expecting a dry race, 19 degrees currently at the moment. Air temp, and 25 degrees track, so pretty much perfect conditions for racing around Monza, one of the fastest tracks out there. Also probably one of the most frustrating tracks. It is for me personally. It is such an easy track to kind of lose time, but then also gain time. It's all about those exits from the slow corners, the chicanes, and just trying to keep it tidy for the rest of the lap. We're expecting times to probably be around maybe the high 48s, low 49s for qualifying. As you'll see, Rob's gone fastest off practice with a 149 flat. I'd expect probably maybe a couple more attempts in that for qualifying. And I'll probably expect your real fast guys at the sharp end of the grid to probably be averaging probably in the low 49s race pace. But we'll see what the pace is looking like, as we have got a green light for qualifying, and I think that's Rob straight out, the first car out for qualifying. It is. Number 75 Bentley. He isn't the first, beg your pardon. I think it's the number 91 car is the first out, which is Moss. So I'll try and stay on board with some of the drivers as they come across the line. Probably won't expect the quickest times to come within the first 5 minutes of this session. Track is optimum, but it always takes a couple of laps of the tyres to come up to temperature and the pressures. Fuel load just to drop a little bit as well. It's about getting that banker lap in though, which you can build upon. as we see the Audi behind him weaving to get that tyre temperature in. As Moss heads through Ascari, probably one of the hardest sections on this track. Car quick left, and a quick right, and left again. If you are full throttle, then you are certainly pushing the limits as we head into the infamous Parabolica. All about getting a good exit here to start your lap, as Moss is going to be the first driver across the line to start a flying lap, and we'll stay with him. Storico is behind him in the 32 Audi and is followed by Rob in the 75 Bentley. So those are your first three drivers across the line to start their flying laps. So braking hard down into the first chicane. Can he get a good exit out of here to get that traction, not run too wide and dip those tyres into the gravel? He does, keeps it tidy so far out of the first chicane as he comes around Curva Grande into the second of the chicanes. Again, picking that braking point, getting the car in, not taking too much curve. That's the most important thing here. There is a nasty sausage curve there, which you do not want to touch as you'll be into the shadow realm. As both of the Audis navigate it through nicely, and then we come for the first couple of Lesmos. You can run quite wide there on the AstroTurf, as we see the Audi in the background doing just that. The Storico, the number 32 Audi, and again he's certainly exploring all limits of tarmac as we come down up towards Ascari. This is your first flying lap, guys, of the qualifying session. Audi's looking beautiful in the late autumn Italian sunshine. And a Parabolica, let's see what time Moss can do for his first flying lap. If you're wondering why some cars are in the pits, it is because this is a split tier qualifying session as Moss comes along with a 149.5 and Storico shortly follows. Track limits, I'd imagine he hasn't actually set a time there, as Rob then comes in with a 150.5 as well, shortly followed by Lamaro, and Marty comes in with quite a quick time. So the times are starting to fly in now. Let's just jump on board with I can see the 888 Honda. I very nearly said 888 Porsche, but I noticed King of the Hills has changed his car ahead of tonight's race. Porsche must have failed its MOT and he's gone with a Honda. Interesting choice. I'm not sure if this is a flying lap or not, but we'll shortly find out, as we're expecting King of the Hills to fly up the leaderboard. He does, with a 150.3, if my mathematics are correct, which is quite hard to make, considering mathematics was one of my weakest subjects at school. So back on board with Moss. Can he improve on his time? We'll expect the qualifying times. I am expecting to be a little bit lower than a 49.5, but as I said just a short while ago, first couple of laps are never the quickest in the qualifying session as the tyres and drivers come up to speed. We have only got 4 minutes left of this pro qualifying session. And he does improve, so Moss re-establishes himself as provisional pole with a 49.1, and Storico not far behind, only a 10th behind. Elysium is yet to set a time. Let's just jump on board with him. He must have. He's coming around now, heading down towards Parabolica. He's got a couple of cars ahead of him. So Elysium, the number 7 Porsche, the driver yet to set a time. Let's see where he can get that Porsche up to. Or not, as he starts his flying lap. We'll stay on board with Elysium, as he'll probably be feeling the pressure right now with only 3 minutes to go. He'll be hoping to get a clean lap in. He certainly won't be hoping for any of these cars up ahead of him to make a mistake and put him off. What he will be hoping for is a nice tow down the long straights. And he's probably a little bit too far back to get one off the car ahead, which I believe is Nico, the 218 Audi. As we've got a car off at the second Lesmo, which I believe was Marty in the BMW 226. As one of the cars pulls to the side there. So a little bit deep there, the first Lesmo for Elysium, but I think he's managed to stay within the track limits. Porsche certainly is lively. As they've got a car off there, he's lucky to avoid that. As drivers are making mistakes left, right and centre here. As we count down to the end of the pro qualifying session with 2 minutes remaining. As AMS goes, provisional pole with a 48.9, and that's the qualifying time I was expecting. We was expecting to see the 48s, and we have done. So AMS, who I believe is in 5th place or 4th place in the championship, will be looking for a good starting position tonight. He's certainly put himself into that position so far. But the top 3 is ever so close, only a tenth separating them. So Elysium is still not registered the time. He must have gone track limits somewhere. It could have been that first Lesmo where he was a little bit wide, so we'll stick with him as the driver under pressure. As I am now joined by Axel in the commentary box. Axel, Mark, you've took a seat, you got your cup of tea. How are you doing, pal? Mark?
How you doing, mate? You alright?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Not bad, mate. Thank you.
Yeah. Good.
I'm just hoping you can hear me.
I can, yes. Though I seem to hear myself as an echo quite badly.
Yes, I had that last night actually. On my in party chat as well. I'm not too sure. It might be just my microphone. I've had to sort of have a replacement microphone for this evening, so I broke mine yesterday accidentally. So I did.
A moment of rage?
No, not at all, mate. Not at all. Just a slight mishap on dropping it yesterday. But if it is too bad, I'm obviously happy to sort of leave, mate. If the echo's too bad for yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. So as we see Elysium come across the line, can he actually set a time? He does. Goes P9. He would have been feeling the pressure on that, I reckon.
No, definitely. I just got confused a little bit. I'm thinking, where's Dasco? Because I know how quick he is around here, and but of course he's in the AM tier. Is that correct?
He is. So he'll be leaving the pits now.
Got it.
To start his qualifying session.
Nice. I expected to see him at least the top 3, given the time. If not P1, mate, I reckon. 48.9 by AMS is very quick, but I reckon Dasco could go a little bit quicker than that. personally.
Yes, well, we raced with him on Saturday, didn't we? I can't quite remember what qualifying time he got. But I believe it was around the high 48s, late 49s.
Yes, definitely. I'm trying to think what I got compared to him, because yeah, he was just flying on Saturday night.
So that is your pro class qualifying completed. Provisional top threes and Moss and Storico. So close. Literally 2 temps separating them.
Yeah, crazy time by the pros there. I'm guessing everyone's been warned for T1 this evening.
I'd imagine the race director hot on that.
It's we've got such bad press, Monza T1.
It is such a tricky corner to avoid contact though, isn't it? You go two cars in, and it's so slow and right and left. I think if you get through it without making contact, then you've done well.
Yes, definitely.
So just trying to pick up the first car on their first blind lap. I believe it could be the 393 MPL. We'll stay close with Das to see how he gets on. So Mark, how's your weekend been?
Yes, good, Matt. Yes. Yeah, I took the boy to got a little 3.5-year-old, so went for practice this morning up at the local field, and little dog walk this afternoon, mate. So yeah, pretty standard, mate, for myself really, for
a nice chill Sunday.
You know, definitely. What about yourself, mate?
Cooked a nice roast dinner today, and watched the opening World Cup game. So yeah, a nice Sunday, and looking forward to watching a couple of good races tonight. So Das has his first provisional lap in, which, let's just quick look at the timetable so I can get you his actual time, which is a 1:49.2, but would expect him to increase that as he gets his second and third flying laps in. Who else have we got as well? We've got car number 87 behind him, which is Captain Beak, as he goes a little bit wide at the first left, mate. So as the Mercedes comes into Parabolica, let's see what time Captain Beak can place the number 87 Mercedes. As he hasn't actually set a lap, so there must have been track limits somewhere. We'll just go back on board with Das, as he's just gone extremely close to beating Am's time, under a tenth. So we'll stick on board with Am's for this. With Das Cool, the number 4 Ferrari this lap, to see if he can find that tenth. And Mark's prediction is looking fairly good so far, with Das being at the sharp end of the grid. So your provisional top 5, as you will see on the left hand side of your screen, is currently Ans in P1 with a 1:48.9, but shortly behind him and hot on his tails is Das, as we are now watching, with Moss in P3, Storic at 4th and Rob 5th. That is your provisional top 5 thus far, all subject to change as that Ferrari's back end steps out a little bit. I believe it's going to lose him time, but he's continuing on. As he comes round out of Parabolica now, let's see where that Ferrari, if he can find that extra tenth. He does. Das goes provisional pole position with a 48.8. I say provisional, I can't see a driver finding a time to beat that, though we do have Frank also running, who's got himself up to 6th. I've not actually mentioned Frank yet, but he's done himself a very good time of provisionally P6 so far. And then likewise in P10 currently the 244 Ferrari F1 Savitsky and the BMW Shadow Lancer in P11. Good times from both of those two AM drivers. As we've got car number 29 off at the first chicane, which is Shadow Lancer. Could have just been pulling over to make way for the number 22, which was Liam Knott coming through in the Porsche. So just under 2 minutes remaining of this AM tier qualifying session, and we've got Das Cool in the Ferrari on provisional pole with a very quick time of a 48.8. As Frank doesn't improve on his, he does improve on his time, but he's still 5 tenths away, but he does cement that 6th place. So there is still 30 seconds to go, and these drivers crossing the line will be able to get their last flying laps in, as we see Shadow Lancer start his last lap. But a couple of cars coming through as well. Just try and join one of the drivers on board. So that is MPL on his final lap, currently in P21. He'll be looking to improve his time. As he heads into Parabolica and out of the exit of Parabolica, getting that good exit. Can MPL 93 in the BMW improve his time? We'll shortly find out. He doesn't, and he'll be shortly followed by provisional pole leader Das across the line, who doesn't improve in his time. And then we have Frank It's a very wide out parabolic, and then the PW's exploring every inch of tarmac, but he's still carrying on, so he must be very close or still on for a good time. He isn't. He finishes, and then we have Shadow Lancer, second to last car, coming around. Can he get himself in the top 10? Again, he's no. That's that scratched. As we have, who is that coming around the final corner? It's Gilas in the Mercedes, who's also likewise gone wide. So that is your grid. Let's just get a full timetable up and running for you guys. So Das Cool, pole position with a 148.8. Ams in second place with 48.9, under a tenth away, and it actually had 2 purple sectors to his name, unlike Das. Moss in third, the championship leader for the Pro Tier, and then Storico fourth, Rob in fifth, Frank sixth, Marty seventh, King of the Hills in the Honda in P8, Legoman P9, Savitsky in 10th, Rapid Duck in 11th, a lovely name that is, Shadow Lancer 12th, Ollie Mack in 13th, Elysium in 14th, Lamaro 15th, Liam Knott 16th, Nico in 17th, Darren Merck in 18th, Hand of Nez in 19th, and Gilas rounds off the top 20. And then towards the rear of the grid, we have MPL in 21st, Captain Beak in 22nd, Jack Slater in 23rd, and last but not least is FRL Chris Volton in the 79 BMW. So, Mark, thoughts on qualifying? What is your expectations for the race? I mean, we've got 3 Audis hunting down Das and the Ferrari. What are you thinking?
Hello, mate. Yeah, hope you can hear me.
I can.
Yeah, you good? That's good, mate. That's good. So I'm just confused. How did Das get a pole with not a purple sector? Would be my question, really. That's crazy that he's stuck on pole position without a purple sector to his name.
Well, looking at the times, so he's gone 10th quicker in Sector 1. He's actually slower in Sector 2, and he's pretty much matched in Sector 3. So it's all the Sector 1 time. It's the exit out of the first chicane.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's just unheard of, really. You'd have thought, he'd at least set at least one section that'd be purple. But yeah, really good time from himself. I want to say though, I know the track temperatures. Oh no, they're about the same actually. I'm pretty sure on Saturday night he qualified with a 48.4 or a 48 with something stupid. So yeah, I mean, my money be on Dash for another sort of win here tonight.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting, and I mean, the 3 Audis behind him is going to be interesting to see how they all battle him. I mean, I think the Ferrari's quite quick in a straight line. To be fair, I actually don't know what the difference is in the straight line between the 2 cars, but here at Monza, it's all about that slipstream, isn't it? So it's yeah, he's certainly going to be having a bunch of Audis chasing him down. But it's all going to be about the first corner, getting a good start and avoiding contact. I'll be absolutely gobsmacked if we avoid contact throughout the grid. But yeah, it's going to be a good race, I feel, especially with the grid. It's a nice qualifying, set us up for the first sprint race of tonight. So guys, for those of you watching live on the live stream, got a couple of minutes to go for the server just to do its thing and reset, and the drivers load up their race strategies and setups, etc. So a couple of minutes, and then we'll be straight into race 1, and I'll be back with you in a short moment.
20 seconds. 10 seconds.
So guys, here we go as the drivers pull away to start the formation lap before race 1 on Monza Super Sprint Sunday, sponsored by Pure Sim Gear. See the comment on the live stream from Gilas coming in there. Should we go 3 wide into turn 1? Probably not the best idea, pal. I think if you're wanting to have a clean race, I would probably recommend against it, but feel free to do so. I'm sure it'll give Mark and I plenty to talk about to kind of debrief the first corner if you do decide to do that. So, interesting to note, track temperature has come down a couple of degrees, down to 17 now, so hopefully the drivers have accounted for that with their tyre pressures. So just a reminder for those of you who are joining us for the first time this season on the live stream tonight, it is a sprint format with 2 30-minute races. There is no mandatory pit stop, so it purely is foot to the floor, start to finish, as the flag drops and the flag waves. So it is purely about speed at the Festival of Speed Monza. And for those of you wondering why I'm not using the in-game cinematic camera, it is because it is still buggy. Unfortunately, I still have a habit of getting disconnected from the game when I use the kind of in-game cinematic camera. So I am just going to stick with this UI menu view because ACC, it's got its bugs. Who would have guessed? And it is still buggy for when I flick between cars and camera angles. So I'm just not going to risk being disconnected from the server and the live stream. As the Ferrari leads the snaking field through down towards Parabolica. We've got LSC in the number 7 Porsche in the pits. He must have not clicked drive before the timer. That is absolutely gutting for him. LSC was in P12, but he's now going to start from the pit lane. That is a shame. So they're all through Ascari and they'll be heading into their Noah's Ark 2x2 formation, heading around Parabolica. And this is where the carnage starts, people. So hopefully by now people's pressures are a little bit up. Not, they won't be quite right up to temperature just yet, but hopefully people's brake temperatures are getting there. They'll be needing their brakes for turn 1. And we slowly but surely approach the start finish line for the first of tonight's races.
Green light.
As we go green, 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 we're off. Das leads them away with Ams in second, Moss in third, no position changes just yet, but Ams has got a great run down into T1, he's side by side into Das. Das is slightly leading ever so surely, but it'll be who is the bravest on the brakes. As we've got contact at the back, I think it was Chris who's gone into the barrier. Das goes side by side with Ams. It's all fairly clean so far. We've got cars going wide, cutting the chicane. it looks like we've only got one or two cars making contact, so it's a fairly clean start for Monza. But more importantly, we've got Das leading the way, but Ams is hot on his heels, heading into the second chicane. Is he going to make a move down the inside or the outside? Das plants the Ferrari in the middle of the road nicely. And they both lead away nicely. I'm just waiting for the UI to update on the left-hand side, so just bear with me. And I'll bring you an update on where the drivers are. As Das gets a little bit squirrely on the first Lesmo, and that's going to put him under pressure now, coming into the second Lesmo out of here. Ams is going to be all over the back of him. So Das in first, Ams second, Storico third, Moss fourth, Rob fifth, Rapid Duck. He's had an absolutely awesome start up into sixth. Frank is seventh, Marty in eighth, and Savitsky has gained one place from 10th to P9. So an interesting start. I've got a couple of drivers who had quite severe contact at the back of the grid. I believe one of them was Chris in the 170 car. It was a Bentley, I believe. It could have been Gilas actually. So we'll stay on board for the front runners for the first lap or so, and then we'll just bring you the action down the grid. And I just want to see if Ams or Storico are close enough to make a move as we complete the first lap of race 1 tonight. As we've got Rapid Duck, he's all over the back of that Bentley. It's not, Frank's also getting involved with the action as they go late to the race a little bit, squeezing the contact. He's going to hang him out to dry on the outside. But all three drivers make it around nicely. That was good racing, that. As the back of the field also come through nicely. As we've got car coming into the pits, which I believe is MPL, unfortunately having to retire. Looks like that BMW's been in the wars, looking at that front bonnet. And then just to confirm, the two drivers at the back of the grid is LSE, who did start from the pit lane unfortunately, and Gilas, who must have been involved with contact. There was a driver who lost it on the, before we even got into the braking point, on the first lap. It must have been Gilas. As we see, Storico is all over the back of the sister Audi of Ams. So here we go into Parabolica. Is Storico going to make a move? He is. He's gone to the outside of Parabolica. Ams has got the inside. He's going to get the better exit. It's probably going to favour Storico, I'd imagine. He's going to probably get a better exit. He's pushing them out wide a little bit. It's good hard racing. He's going to get a slipstream down, a start finish straight. But both Audis, we've both got the same engine in that, underneath that bonnet. I've got a car leaving the pits, which will be keeping nicely out of the way, as they're going to make a move in the braking. He is. He's turn it down the inside, and both drivers give each other space, which is lovely to see, as that is Storico moving up to P2 on a lovely overtake going into the braking zone of the first chicane. All while this is happening, Das is getting away in the Ferrari, so he'll be looking in his rearview mirror thinking, yes please, keep on squabbling guys. Yeah, losing time to me. So now we're going to have roles reversal for Ams and Storico, as Ams will be looking to get that split through, as we just split through the grid and just see the cars coming through the chicane here. Lovely shot. There's Darren there, P21 in the lovely looking Ferrari. I like that colour. As we have Gilas and NPL bringing up the rear. So back on board with Ams, because I believe these are the closest on the grid so far, with only 4 temps separating them. We'll see if he can return the favour and retake his second place. As we've got a car off at the Lesmo corners, which was car 420, which is Darren Mert. Darren, unfortunately, I just commentate his curse. I was just saying how nice of a colour scheme that Ferrari's got, and he's lost it. I do apologise for the commentator's curse there, Garrett. So, Das leads him for lap 3. As we have Storico in P2, Ams in 3rd, Moss in 4th. Rob starting to make a gap now to Rapid Duck. As we've got Marty all over the back of Frank. They're both pulled side by side. We've got the two BMWs, again going into the braking zone of the first chicane. Who's going to be the latest one on the brakes? And they both hit the brakes at pretty much the same time. Marty tucks him behind. He's not a little bit too far back to make a move on the braking, so he tucks him behind Frank, try and get a better exit. And for the rest of the field, it's pretty much single file at the moment. Mark, opening thoughts on the first few laps. What do you reckon? As we wait for you to come back on comms, see what your thoughts are.
Hello, mate. Yes. No. I think Rapid Duck, like it's not F1 because I'm pretty sure he was BMW that cut the chicane on the opening lap, turn 1 and 2.
Oh, interesting.
I think I caught a glimpse of a blue BMW cutting the chicane. I'm pretty sure it's Rapid Duck, and he started P10. He's up to P6 now, so I might be wrong, but I think he was one who sort of gained out of the first lap.
So I did say he made a good start, and that's probably why then.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I say, it was hard to see exactly what happened. Turn 1, all the cars are all bunched up, aren't they? So he may have just been avoiding some action right in front of him and had to take avoiding action. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt this time round. But yeah, he's done well out of that first. You got a car off?
Yeah, I was just saying, we're about to jump to Ollie Mac. It looks like we had Ollie Mac and Nico, and I think it was Shadowlancer, the number 29 BMW, involved in an accident coming out of Scary. So it's Ollie Mac pulling to the side there to keep out of trouble. So 3 cars involved in an incident there by the looks of it.
Yeah, that 82 Audi seems pretty beat up over it already.
It sure does.
And who was it? I thought, like yourself, I thought it was Chris that had a bit of an issue before even turn 1. It looked like a FRL colour scheme BMW sort of spinning and hitting the barrier, but obviously it wasn't too much of an issue. But it was Chris, because he's up to P14 now.
Yeah, I thought it was Chris in an FRL livery, but maybe it wasn't. That's
he's certainly doing okay with himself, because like say he's P14 now.
Yeah, we're just seeing a group of cars here coming out of the second les mode. Rapid Duck is he's looking quite quick. He's certainly living up to his name of Rapid, isn't he, so far? He's certainly all over the back of Rob.
I love to know where he gets his nickname from. I'm sure there's a good story behind that.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him and find out. As I say that, he's just gone off.
Oh God.
Commentator's curse strikes again.
Definitely. I noticed you mentioned Darren Markin before, and you knew it. He's in the pits, mate. Oh, he's gone off. He has off.
Yeah, I know. I was liking the coral-looking Ferrari, but I'm just seeing Ams now coming down in the back of Storico. He's going to make a move in the braking zone, I reckon.
Yes, turn 1 certainly the I think the best place to do the overtake. If you get a good slipstream around Parabolica onto the home straight and then into turn 1.
So just coming around now to the second chicane. Is he going to make a move in the braking? He isn't. He's going to tuck in behind Storico. These two are certainly having a right ding-dong battle, aren't they, Ams and Storico?
Dash must be loving it, because all he's doing really is helping Dash just pull away in the lead for these two fighting.
Yeah, gap of currently 2.7 seconds.
And these Audis of historical AMS and Mosso, are these the new Audis? Do we know, or are these the original? Are these the Evo 2, or are these just the older type Audi Evo still? Do we know that, or?
I'm hoping you wasn't going to ask me that because I actually don't know.
Sorry, Matt.
I don't think they are, because I don't think these guys will want to lose the points they've got in the championship. And there's bound to be someone watching who's thinking, how do these guys not know there is a visual difference between the two? But guys, if there is a visual difference, then please tell us in the chat, because I don't know if there is.
No. The thing is, I'm pretty up to date with a lot of things that happen on FRL, and I always have a look in on any car changes, and I don't recognise their names being in the car change lobby or channel, so I'm assuming it's the old Evo type Audi.
So let's just do a recap of where we are, the top 10. So we have Das extending that lead ever so slightly to 2.8 seconds in first place. Storico behind, who's having an absolute to and fro battle with AMS. And then catching these guys is Moss in the other Audi in P4. Rob in P5 in the Bentley, who is shortly followed by Frank. We then have Marty, and then Rapid Duck, who we saw make a mistake a lap or two ago. So these group of cars fighting for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th very closely together. That's going to be interesting to see how the next 17 minutes pans out for these guys. We then have in the purple Ferrari 244 F1 Savitsky, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, in P9, and Lamaro in 10th, who's gained a couple of places. I believe he started around P13, P14, so a nice race so far for Lamaro. So probably a bit of a lonely race. He's 3 seconds off Savitsky, but 7 seconds ahead of Captain Beak. So a lonely race for Lamaro, probably reading the newspaper as he goes round, but I'm sure he'll be looking to bring home a top 10 finish. We then have King of the Hills. I keep wanting to say triple Porsche, it isn't. I'm used to saying the 888 Porsche. It's not a Porsche anymore, it's a Honda. In 12th, Liam Knott, the driver in the 22 Porsche in P13. Chris in 14th. Oh, he's having a really good race. Started low down, back of the grid actually. I say low down, he started back of the grid. He's up to P14, albeit through a couple of accidents from other drivers, but nonetheless, you've got to keep it clean to make the gains, and Chris is certainly doing that as he brings the 79 BMW up to P14. Elysium, likewise, he started from the back of the grid, has gained from other drivers' bad luck. He's up to P15 and hunting down Chris. And Jack Slater, who, again, likewise with Chris and Elysium, is having a good race. He started quite low down, if memory serves me correct. He's up to P16. Gilas in 17th. Ollie Mack in 18th. Yeah, I believe he's lost quite a few places. We saw him in the pits make the accident at the exit of Ascari. MPR 19th, Legoman 20th, Shelly Lancer is still going around in 21st, again a driver who was involved with contact, as we saw. I think that's Jack Slater in the background there making a mistake at the chicane. Darren Mark in 22nd, and then we have Nico and Hand of Nez, who have unfortunately retired. So back to the top of the grid, let's just have a look to see how we're getting on. We've got AMS just starting to pull away from, Storico just starting to pull away from AMS, but AMS starting to fall into the grasp of Moss in the 91 Audi.
We are halfway through, keep pushing.
And as you would have just heard or seen on your screen, that is halfway mark in the race as we head into the final 40 minutes of race 1 tonight for the Pure Sim Gear Super Sprint Sunday at Monza. as the 244 Ferrari Savitsky, who was running in P9, has gone into the pit, so he must have had an accident somewhere. That's unfortunate for Savitsky, who's having a good race up until then. He's in the pit. But drivers behind will be making gains. As we see the lead between Das and Storico just starting to climb down a little bit. It was about 2.8, it's down to 2.5 now. So we'll just keep an eye on that gap. It's just gone up to 2.6 as I just said that. But we'll keep an eye on that and see how that develops in the next 5 minutes or so. It's certainly not in the bag for Das, let's just say that. It's only a lead of 2.6, so one slight mistake and it will be all up for grabs. As the field, as you'll see from your UI on the screen at the bottom right, the field is starting to get spread out over the course of the track. And we'll try and stay on board with the closest battles where possible. As we see Marty and Rob are certainly in the same postcode together as they come round Parabolica down the start finish straight. That Bentley is certainly going to be quick in a straight line. Strangely enough, Marty not looking to go directly behind him for the slipstream. As we see the air temp just drop again down to 16 degrees and track's now down to 18, so certainly a lot different conditions to where we were in pre-practice and qualifying. So we're just on board now with the number 5 BMW of Jack Slater. He has got Darren right behind him. That's not full position. Darren is in P22, so Darren's looking to unlap himself there, I'd imagine. As they go side by side, there's a little bit of contact there between the two drivers. I believe both of them have managed to, yep, they have backed out of it. Jack's backed out of it and let Darren through. A little bit of door rubbing going on there between the two BMWs and Ferrari. Darren Mark is through as he looks to regain some time, as he goes a little bit wide. So, just jumping back on board with AMS, and as we've seen, the top two have swapped around. AMS has made a mistake somewhere. He's suddenly just dropped 5 seconds behind Das, and Moss has took that position, moving up to P2. Mark, you're back with us. What you got for us?
Yeah, no, just that interview between sort of Darren Mark very quickly and who was it? Is it Shadow Lancer? No,
Jack Slater.
Jack Slater, yeah, it was a weird one because of course, you know, it looked like Jack Slater's counts on sort of damage there. So of course, Darren Mark, despite being a back marker as such, he's entitled to take that place and get past him. He went in past him quite easy, but Jack Slater wasn't really up for giving that place up, I don't think, or that position up really, despite it wasn't for position. So it's a bit of a weird one there, really.
Just seeing Captain B cut the chicane. Must have been a little bit late on the brakes as King of the Hills chasing him down. I'll be interested to know if he got a penalty cut for that.
So what's that historical? Because he's now dropped to P4, you know? Is that
yeah, just going on board with the leader. Das has made a mistake here. Parabolica, we've got Das, Moss and AMS, the top three all fighting for position here. Das must have made a mistake coming out of Scary.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go 3 wide, I think, down into this start finish straight. We've got Ams taking the slipstream of the Ferrari, Storico staying to the left of the track. This is going to be interesting in turn 1, as all three of them hit the brakes. As Storico's gone, Ams gone for a move down the inside. That's having to cut the chicane. So it was Ams in the number 15 Audi, really late in the brakes, gone for a Danny Rick move down the inside in the braking zone. Couldn't make it stick though. And Das
contact and Das there, but not much.
Yeah, Das having to cut the chicane to probably keep the position. And he cuts the chicane again. Das is he's carrying damage or something. I don't know. He's having to go defensive in the first Lesmo.
I think whatever's happened with Das is obviously carrying a bit of damage from maybe a scary in the last lap.
Oh, this is happening, and Storico is regaining his Ams. He's going to make a move. As we've got Marty in the barrier at Ascari. So it's Marty unfortunately making a mistake there. So here we go. Ams is right on the back of that Ferrari. Can he make it stick? The second time they're really going wide on the track to avoid the slipstream. So Ams to the left. Das on the brakes, really squeezing him, but they've managed to keep it clean.
That's really good race, isn't it? That's you know, that's no quarter given, but that is very very clean racing. That first chicane there from Das and Ams.
I mean, this is insane, really. You've got the top three fighting for the lead here, but then all while this is happening, you've got Storico in the 32 Audi kind of gaining on the back of them, trying to make it a four-way fight for the lead.
I think you're just waiting for Bill to crash and just get P1 personally. That's what I've been doing anyway. Just hold back.
He's certainly on the back of Moss now.
Thing is, this is what we want from our 30-minute sprint race, isn't it? You know, nice close battling to the end of the race. No pit stops, nothing to worry about. Just go for it.
Exactly that, and you know, tyres shouldn't be a problem. The fuel loads are fairly medium to low, aren't they? And it's just pure speed. Racecraft.
Yeah, I mean, after 30 minutes, those tyres should still be in pretty good nick. So as the fuel burns off, potentially you could be going even quicker than you was at the start of the race.
Yeah. So Ams into the braking zone. A little bit too far back to make a move on this lap, I think. Yeah, as they all tuck in single file, one by one. Storico is trying his best to keep on the back of these three, but I think he hasn't got the pace of the front two, I don't think.
No, I wonder maybe on that initial lap with Das run wide, maybe some dirty tyres, maybe if he ran wide in the Scary, just takes that lap in a bit just to sort of burn the dust or grit off of it before getting full traction again.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. As we saw Das make a little bit of mistake on the braking zone, he's gone a little bit wide there as well. Coming out the second Lesmo, what kind of exit can they all get? Ams dips the tyres a little bit on the AstroTurf.
This reminds me of Kailami, mate. Me, you and Das were in the second between the three of us.
Don't remind me of Kailami.
3, 4 laps, maybe 3 laps to go, I reckon. Probably got, yeah, 3 laps to go, I reckon.
So here we go for like round 6 as they go side by side yet again into the first chicane. Who's going to be the latest in the brakes? I think it's going to be Das who's going to be the latest in the brakes. He's parked at Ferrari, lovely. As we've got Moss has lost it on the exit. So that is Moss out of the fight for this race win. And Storico has now found himself up into a podium position.
Oh, did Moss just... was that just himself, or did he just get into the back of Ams ever so slightly on the exit of the chicane there? Possibly. It looked very close to the back of Ams anyway.
So, just have a look down the rest of the grid. See what else we've got going on. Darren Mark closely behind Shadow Lancer. As he goes to the outside of turn 1. Again, Shadow Lancer does a good job at keeping that BMW space. As Darren Mark's lost it on the exit, on the traction, a bit too much. Rear wheel, tyre spin. As we've got Elysium off at the second Lesmer as well.
Yeah, just that Ferrari can be a bit of a handful sometimes, I should know. It's not the best at taking curves either, is it, the Ferrari, so you have to be really careful when getting near them.
Probably took a little bit too much curve, yeah. As we see the Porsche of Liam Knott go a little bit wide of the exit of Ascari, that's going to open the door for can't quite work out who he's battling with. Is that Marty? It is. Marty's gone through.
Was it Elysium that started in the pits?
It was, yeah.
He's done really well to get to P12 then from the pit stop, from starting for the pits.
Yeah, there's a few of them down there in just outside the top 10 who've had good races from their starting positions. Elysium was back to the pits, Chris was back at the grid, Gilas and Jax, I think were all 20th.
Yeah.
20th.
Sometimes back at the grid in Monza is a safer place to be, mate.
Yeah, very good point. So heading into the final minute of this race, and we've only got Ams 4 tenths behind Das. To quote Murray Walker, Das must be sweating buckets inside that Ferrari. I know I would be.
I think Das has got him covered. It's only half a second, but I think Das has, got the measure. He's got that Ferrari back under control now. He's only got the one car to worry about, hasn't he? Rather than the 2 Audis behind them now, so...
Right, man, leader is on the final lap.
So, final lap.
No, I never really for Ams.
It is, he's going to have a good exit out of this corner. He goes round Curva Grande and try and get into the second chicane, I'd imagine.
Yes, that would probably be the best overtaking place.
Don't think he's close enough to make a move though. I think he's now going to be relying on Das making a mistake.
Back, I think that's got us covered now. So unless he makes a mistake now down to Ascari, I think Das has got the win in the bag.
Very close here though, coming through Ascari. I think he's going to have one more opportunity going into Parabolica if he can get a good run out of Ascari, which he has done. Is he going to be brave on the brakes? He can. Das positions at Ferrari, lovely. I think that's going to be it, as the checkered flag is waving. Flashing lights of the number 4 Ferrari of Das Cool comes home to win race 1. Hans in second, Storico in third, and Moss going to come home in fourth.
That's cool. Nothing good about that, mate. That was sweating buckets, like you say, Matt.
Yeah, quality race. If race 2 serves up that, we're in for a treat.
Absolutely. C10 still mighty close from Ams.
So guys, that is your first race done of tonight. Let's just recap on an absolutely amazing first race. Fingers crossed we're going to get round 2 of Das Cool versus Ams. That is an absolute cracker of a battle we've just witnessed. So your final grid positions for race 1 is Das in first, Ams in second, Storico third, Moss in fourth, Rob fifth, Rapid Duck in 6th. Lamaro, absolute cracking result for Lamaro in P7. King of the Hills in 8th. Captain Beak in 9th, which is likewise a great result for him. Marty in 10th. So that's the top 10. And then we have Liam Knott in 11th. Elyseem in 12th. Chris in 13th. Gilas 14th. Jack Slater in 15th. Frank in 16th. MPL 17th, Shadow Lancer in 18th, Darren in 19th, and Ollie Mack rounding off the top 20. And then we had the early retiree of Hand of Ness in 21st, Savitsky in 22nd, who was at one point running in P9, so that's an unfortunate result for Savitsky. Legerman in 23rd, and Nico in 24th, another one of the early retirees. So that is your grid, an amazing race, and just have a couple of minutes for the server to do its thing, reset, and then we're ready for race 2 of tonight. So grab yourself a drink, refresh. I think Das will be nipping for a quick shower, I reckon, to try and cool down after that race, and we'll go again. I'll be back with you in a short while, guys. So guys, back in the comms box, ready for round 2. I was just watching a couple of drivers' streams actually, just to see how they were getting on in that first race. I noticed Lamaro actually ran out of fuel as he crossed the start-finish line. So Lamaro, if you're watching this back, you lucky boy. Probably add a litre or two, mate, for race 2. But if you were fuel saving, then very well done. But great result. Hi to Rapid Duck, LSCM, Darren Mark, best of luck. Thanks for the comment, Marek. Nice to have you on the live stream, pal.
Just a bit of content for you, Lewis. Just spoke to Daskell on Discord, and it turns out he hit this curb and Ascari exit and spun the car. I still got P1.
Wow. And that's why you're here tonight, for the little bit of snippets of information like that.
You're welcome, mate. I can be a Tay Clavis anytime, mate.
Yeah, probably not just, don't mention any championship controversy, and you should be fine.
Exactly, mate, yes. All hail Lewis, I reckon. Hamilton, that is, not you, mate, not you. Hamilton.
Yeah, all hail me, yes, thank you. Well, of course, hit us at FRL or neutrals, of course, between Max and Lewis. So, interestingly, the time of day obviously changed for race 2, and we're a little bit darker now.
A little bit colder as well.
Very much so, yeah. 14 degrees across air and track, so hopefully the drivers have accounted for that with their pressures. And let's see him, again, in the grid, he's not started. Whether that's deliberate, start from the back, I don't know.
It must be, no, maybe, yeah, I would say so.
So drivers, Das leads us around for the formation lap for the second race. It's going to be interesting with the light changing now, the sun setting, how that impacts on the drivers and the braking points.
At least it's dry, mate, unlike Tuesday.
Yes, for those of you racing in Taco Tuesdays, this coming Tuesday is going to have a night and a wet race.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
I'm not looking forward to it whatsoever.
We might also have a potential DAS on chat after the race, mate, as an interview. So
fantastic. I'll leave that in your capable hands then to set up and make sure his privacy settings are all right.
Yeah, I have mentioned to him, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
I'll let you do this race start, mate.
Yeah, no worries. I'll catch up with you once we've managed to catch your breath a little bit after the first lap or two.
No worries, mate.
I'll just wet the whistle with another swig of red wine, and we'll get this second race underway. Of course, I don't condone drink driving, but I'm not driving tonight. I'm just in the commentary box, so please allow me to have a small glass of red. If I start slurring my words, then obviously I'll blame the red wine. So, cracking first race, and we've got hopefully round 2 of this heavyweight competition. And I'm not talking about the drivers, I'm talking about the quality of their driving rather than their actual driving weight when I say that. Das and Ams will be looking to go toe and toe yet again. and one of them looking to give each other a knockout blow. It's my boxing reference out of the way for tonight. As the drivers come round Parabolica, the lovely shot of the cars with the headlights on. As they're in the 2x2 formation, trying to stay underneath the speed limit up until the green flag falls. What kind of start can AMS get in the Audi? As we are green for race 2 of Pure Sim Gear Super Sprint Sunday at Monza. As AMS has got a great start, he is actually already ahead of Das going into the first braking zone. Master's right behind them, and Rob's in there as well with the Bentley. But Rob's got a good start, maybe a little bit late on the braking as he'd avoided contact he has, as AMS leads him into turn 1 and 2. Das follows, and we've got a car spinning around, we've got a couple of cars going off. We'll try and find out who that is. The 321 BMW, which I think was Frank. And that's Frank who's lost it at turn 1. There's the Darren Mark as well, I believe, is involved in that. There's yellow flags all over the place, but we'll stay on board with the front runners for the time being. Hopefully my co-commentator is trying to keep track of who those are at the back of the grid, and he will come in shortly to tell us who they were in a few laps of time. So just while we have the UI updating on the left hand side, we believe we've got AMS leading the race with Das Call shortly following, and then we have Storico in third, I believe. That is, we're just waiting for the driver tracker to update. So from a championship point of view, Rob has got a good start in the Bentley. But more importantly, AMS, and this is the key difference compared to the last race, AMS has got that lead during lap 1. But probably more importantly, Das is going to have the slipstream, so we'll keep an eye on that. As we've already got quite a significant gap between 7th and 8th, as Savitsky is in P7 with Lamaro 5.5 seconds down the road. As we've got a couple of cars spinning off at the exit of Ascari. That was car 79, which was Chris, and car number 90, which is Rapid Duck. So whether that was contact, we'll find out. Let's just go and have a quick look ourselves. So Chris is back up and running. He's got damage to the front of that BMW. Is he going to box, or is it not too bad to carry on? It isn't. He's boxing. Chris is boxing with that BMW, and behind him is Rapid Duck, I believe. Rapid Duck, who finished P6, I believe, in the first race, is not, unfortunately, repeating in race 2, as Das has managed to regain the lead. Unfortunately, I've missed that as I was switching to Chris to find out what's happening. So Das has actually retook the lead, but as you will see right now, AMS is shortly following behind. And Storico is there as well, but Storico is keeping pace with them. AMS is all over the back of Das. So what kind of slipstream can he get going into Ascari? He is right behind the number 4 Ferrari as he pulls to the right. They're going side by side into the first Ascari chicane, as Das falls in behind Das, and they lead each other one by one through full throttle. Hopefully not getting too wide on the exit, sorry. As they both make it clean through. And again, can AMS get in the slipstream of that Ferrari? As we've got more yellow flags at Ascari, we've got car 170 off, which is Gilas, and the 321 car, which is Frank. So Frank again having a mistake there. As we see AMS pull to the side of Das, and they're going to go side by side as AMS comes in behind Das and then pulls out again. A double switcheroo going on. He goes to the inside, the late move. As they're in the braking, Das positions the Ferrari lovely, squeezes AMS a little bit, but it's good hard racing. And Das keeps the lead going into the first chicane. AMS really did try the switcheroo on him there, really, with multiple positions. But AMS has got a great exit out of the first chicane. They're coming around Curva Grande side by side. AMS is going to have the inside to the next corner. And it's yet again going to be down to the braking, as AMS actually is already ahead of, and that is the lead. That's the lead for the race. Even before we got to the braking zone, AMS had the better exit and retook the lead. As we see Storico, who's got a purple lap, so far. He's even took second place ahead of Das. So Storico is trying to make up for race 1 where he lost it at the first chicane. He's made himself up to P2 as we see Rob and Moss, I believe, very closely. It is, so it's you got Moss and Rob fighting each other for P4, and then we have Storico, who has moved up to, well, he was P2. He must have, I'm just trying to wait, just kind of get my bearings as to who we are. So Am's in P1, Das has gone back up to second, and Storico is third. So Storico must have made a mistake. I must have missed it on the actual live stream. I was watching the driver, I was watching the track in the bottom right, so he must have retook second place through Ascari. So that is your top 3, with Rob and Moss shortly following behind. Moss will be looking to make a move in the braking zone again if he's probably a little bit too far back. You never know though with the braking of these cars. Yeah, he's a little bit too far. He's going to follow Rob through the chicane. So let's have a look where else we are in the field. Ollie Mack in P6, Savitsky in 7th, shortly followed by Lamaro, who is having a good couple of races so far, hopefully avoiding the commentator's curse there for the number 83 Audi. Hand of Nez up into P9, and Elysium, who again I believe started from the pit lane, is up to P10 already. That is an absolute cracking first few laps from the number 7 Porsche, as we see Jack Slater there with a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds. That is unfortunate for him, and Gilas is an early retiree in the 170 Mercedes AMG. So back to the top 5, where the heavyweights continue to slog it out. There is no gaps building here. It's just going to be another 23 minutes of just pure wheel-to-wheel, door-to-door racing going on here, as Das is following Am through. Mark, what you got for me, pal?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I think it was Frank and Rapid Duck that had the collisions on lap 1 at the chicane. I saw both of them. They started both high up, and after once the timetable updated itself, they were both down the bottom. So I presume it was Frank and Rapid Duck who had that collision at turn 1. Ams had cut heat. Obviously, I know Ams is now leading again, but we saw Ams have the lead and then lose the lead to Das in the first couple of laps. He actually he didn't make the first chicane, put it that way. He outbooked himself and bumped a few curbs, and obviously that's how Das retained the lead at the start of the race, and of course then Ams has got back ahead of him again.
Yeah, and we've just seen Das just retook the lead into the braking zone of the first chicane. He's gone down the inside of Ams, and Ams is now coming back at him into the second chicane. They're side by side again. And Das has got the lead so far. Side by side into the braking zone. Das has got the corner. It's hard not to stick with these guys, considering it's the front end of the grid, and I'm sure there is other battles going on, and I'm going to try and get through them. But
I think there's other issues in the pits now.
Elysium
P10.
Yeah, we see him pulling into the pits here.
I mean, if I was Storico, I'd be just happy just to sit in P3 at the moment, because hopefully they don't, benefit these two. But the way that how close they're fighting each other, it will only take a slight misjudgment of one slight brake error, and they're both clipping each other, aren't they? Ams and Dasco. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but yeah, if I was.
Yeah, it's potentially here. We've just seen Moss trying to make a move and Rob into Parabolica. I think that was one of the back markers, car number 79, trying to stay out of the way, which is Chris. So Ams into the braking zone again. Das manages to keep the lead. going into that chicane. And Moss is shortly following Rob.
Big shout out to Olin Mac as well in P6. He's obviously gained quite a few positions from some first lap incidents, and he's sort of climbed up that table.
It is, yeah, it's P6 so far. So we see Edison back out of the pits. He's running again, coming through a scarring now. Currently finds himself in P15 though.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's an issue somewhere. I'll have to pit for some repairs. You know, the great shot of that Ferrari, the previous lap coming through Ascari, and the way that thing bounces up and down as it hits the curbs, how he keeps control of that Ferrari, I have no idea. You know, some cars like the BMW and the Mercedes just glide over them curves, but that Ferrari looks right handful when it hits them.
Just trying to work out who this is behind Savitsky. It's not Lamaro, so it must be someone out of position in the BMW. I'm just trying to work out who that is. I think it's Rapid Duck. It is, it's Rapid Duck, who is out of position, currently running behind Savitsky. So Lamaro having another quiet race to his own in P8. He's 4 seconds off Savitsky, but 7 seconds ahead of Hand of Nez. But hopefully he's put himself an extra litre or two in his car this time, and not having to fuel save on the last few laps. So Captain Beak running in P10. He's having a good couple of races so far, isn't he? Liam Knott in the number 22 Porsche in 11th. Then we have MPL in 12th. And we have Shadow Lancer in 13th. A very spread out grid so far. And then way back, King of the Hills, the 888 Honda, and then Elysium. So we've got quite a lot of cars out of position. Rapid Duck, as I said, he's a long way back. Darren, likewise, a long way back from him. And then we've got Marty and Chris. These drivers have all been involved in incidents early on in the race. So very spread out field. Have we got the car number 5 coming into the pits? Is that right? So we've got, yes it is, it's Jack Slate who's been disqualified. I've just seen Chris has just lost it coming out of Ascari again. He's not having a good time, is he, right now, let's be honest. So hopefully he can rejoin the track safely. As he does, he waits for the car, which was Lamara, I believe, to come flying past before he rejoins the track. But he's got to be quick. He's got Hand of Nez coming behind him as well. So, unfortunately, we have got a disqualifiee with Jack Slater in the number 5 BMW, and then Gilas as an early retiree. So that is your top 20, guys. And as you'll see, the gap to AMS is currently 1.8 seconds. But we had this the first race. Das did have a 2.8 second lead, made a mistake, and then that started the last final 10 minutes battle. So it'll be interesting to see how that gap develops. Mark, you're back with us. What you got for me, pal?
Yeah, just looking at Chris there, he was stuck, I believe, on right at the inside of a Ascari chicane there, so he couldn't go nowhere until all the cars had passed him. It was unfortunate.
It's good to see, though. You know, one of my pet peeves is seeing people go off and then being really, really too eager to rejoin. So it's good of him that he kept out of the way and noticed that he couldn't rejoin until those cars passed.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Things you've got your timers, haven't you, on your screen, and plus you've got the mini map as well. So you've got lots of information to tell you there's cars coming, or if you just take that second just to check to make sure the track's clear, it will save you damage or a race-ending damage, and plus someone else who's got nothing to do with it. We see it too many times, don't we? People just rolling back onto the track or trying to get back onto the track from the grassy verge too quickly, and before you know it, you've got 2 or 3 cars in a pile up.
Very much so. So, battles on the track are a little bit few and far between right now given the field spread, but we've currently got on board with Rob. He's just under a second away from Starco. Rob is looking quite racy this race. I thought he was a little bit redundant, probably isn't the right word in the first race, but he was in a little bit of no man's land, wasn't he, in the first race, but he's looking a little bit more racier this race.
Yeah, definitely. I was surprised to see actually, you know, the first top 3 or 4 cars were all mid-engine cars. I was surprised not to see a BMW or even a Bentley up at the sharp end of the grid. I thought they'd have a bit more sort of top-end speed as well, given it's Monza.
As we still see Rapid Duck struggling to get by Savitsky. It's not full position, this battle here, but he's been on the gearbox of that Ferrari for a couple of laps now.
Do you think he's holding position because he's the back marker? Or
potentially, yeah. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't want to, you know, ruin someone else's race. He's currently running in P7, maybe.
Because Savitsky's only 2 seconds behind Olimac, so if, you know, if Rapid Duck can see that, then maybe he doesn't want to sort of...
I've just seen Rapid Duck completely lose it on this exit of Lesmo 2.
Oh dear.
No.
And then,
that BMW will be failing an MOT with that front bonnet.
That ain't buffing out at all.
Yeah, you're going to need a bit more T-cut for that.
Still continuing though. Oh yeah, that was a bit worse for wear.
Just see Rob go a little bit wide out of Parabolica. That's going to put him under pressure from Moss. He's straight away going defensive to try and avoid that slipstream. It's actually, I've just noticed AMS is actually...
6 seconds behind Aston.
Yeah.
Mistake. Oh no, he's 4.
He's dropped back to P4. He was P2, wasn't he? I wasn't sure if I was being silly then, but no, he was P2, wasn't he? So yeah, he's dropped back to behind Rob.
Getting the scary strokes again, potentially.
Yes.
I think with the Parabolica, it's just people think it's a simple long right-hander, but it's such a technical corner because you have to get in early and accelerate out hard, but it just takes that little bit of acceleration too much, you know, oversteer, not or understeering out wide, and you know, there's not much grip out wide, is there, of the, you know,
no, you get your tyres out there, you pick up all the discarded rubber, and you lose the grip instantly.
Gearbox of Rob though.
Just in terms of the championship standings then, so I mean, your 2 front runners in the championship, Historico and Rob, there's only a 7-point gap between them, so they're both running in P2 and 3, so that is interesting from a standings point of view. Obviously Rob will be looking, as he goes wide, I say that, and Rob goes wide, AMS comes through, says thank you very much, that's P3, and Rob's now instantly under pressure from Moss. I think Moss is going to have to run him, so that's the second time Rob's come a little bit wide at Parabolica, and it's cost him. He's going to lose potentially 2 positions in 1 corner, as Moss is later on the brakes, he's got the inside as well. Oh, it's the contact! And they both touch and they spin round. I don't think there's a lot of damage there though, hopefully not. So I think potentially Moss's fault, because it looks like he's lifted off and let Rob back through.
Yeah. It's hard to see that camera angle, but yeah, I think maybe just outbooked it a little bit when instead of Rob. Do you think because it's dark, a few more little silly mistakes creeping in now?
I think it's a fair question. You know, you know, when you are racing, you do rely on certain brake markers, don't you? You know, shadows or putting points in the barriers, and at night you may lose those visual cues a little bit. So it's definitely probably a fair question.
I think when it's an hour's race, you get used to the markers, don't you? But when it's gone from half hour for a sunny statement race to almost pitch black now, 10 still to go.
Very much so, and I've just noticed Savitsky has lost it at Lesmo 2 and he's gone back to the pits. He was running in P7.
And obviously the Sundays are Pro and Am categories. I'm guessing the points are just normal, so you know, so historical will only get points for second place despite being the top pro driver, for example.
I believe so, yes.
But, I thought that was the case, but I wanted to check. Sometimes they'll have sort of top points for pro and Am categories, wouldn't they?
So these are the two closest cars on the grid right now, are Moss and Rob, following each other nicely through the chicane. I think my commentator's curse struck again. I was just saying a few laps ago how Rob's looking more racier, and then he goes wide twice at Parabolica. Now he seems to be falling back into the grasps of Moss.
Oh, by the way, in regards to our first race, these are all the Eagle ones, not the new Audis. I checked.
Good to know.
Just in case two viewers are wondering. That Bentley's got some good straight line speed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly pulls in a straight line.
More seems to catch him through the chicane areas, but as soon as he gets on the long straights, that Bentley just sort of opens up and pulls up one or two attempts.
I just see Moss there take a little bit too much inside, coming around Curva Grande. We just join on board with King of the Hills in the AAA Honda. He's closely following MPL. He must have made a mistake coming out of the Ascari, and now he's gone wide at Parabolica. And King of the Hills takes P12. As we see Ellisine fly past him as well, so MPL carrying damage by the looks of that front bonnet on the BMW.
Yeah, you can just see the little gap, can't you, between the grille and the bonnet when you get front end damage in these cars.
So, the question is Moss close enough now to Rob? They're coming in as Moss goes to the inside, now to the outside, side by side into the braking zone quite early on the brakes, so Rob positions the Bentley nicely. Can he get a good exit though? He's very close.
First contact, Moss has been a little bit more careful not to make contact again with Rob.
Potentially, yeah. Just in the flashing of the lights as well, whether he's not happy with the movement and the braking, I don't know. As he goes to the inside, does he have a look? No, he tucks him behind. He's got a good exit there out the chicane, I think. So heading through Ascari, Moss still on the gearbox of that Bentley of Rob 2K.
I see Verstappen, I mean Gasco has checked out and handed his keys in for the race.
Yeah, leader 6.9 seconds. I think that's I think Am's made a mistake, didn't he? Lost P2.
This time for Das in the second race now. Ams has dropped back and Doricos 7.6 seconds now behind.
If you just join on board with the number 7 Porsche of LSD, he's extremely close behind the Honda of King of the Hills. Interesting, King of the Hills has swapped to the Honda. He's normally been quite at one with the Porsche, so it'd be interesting to know why he's decided to swap.
Yeah, no, definitely. When I was checking the car change channel, I noticed that King of the Hills had changed the Honda. Not too sure why. You know, maybe just fancies a bit of a change on the Sunday night racing. So, like, from my point of view, I've and a bit like yourself, with the Tacos and Endurance League, sticking to the same car. I think doing that a bit more continuity with the car, and you know, you get used to it a bit more, don't you?
Very much so, yeah, because I drove the Lexus last year, and changing to the BMW, it wasn't too bad of a change, but I've stuck with the Beamer throughout all the leagues, because to try and get that consistency, get used to the car.
Mate, I had the Ferrari last year, and on the BMW, it's just a breeze to drive, honestly, compared to that Ferrari. So yeah, enjoying life much more nicer now I'm in the BMW this season.
Just see a gaggle of cars coming around the Curva Grande, and there's a couple of cars there that are out of position. You've got Captain Beak in there, who is P16. Are we hoping to get out of the way of these King of the Hills and Edit Steam, I hope.
Jinking back and forth trying to put Gary Mark off there.
And I've just seen Ams has closed the gap to Storico, and he's right on the back of him.
I think in the first race as well, Ams seemed to have that slightly better race pace over Storico, so no surprise that he's closed that gap a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to have to make a move soon though, isn't he, coming into the final minute of this race.
Yeah, Elysium's got King of the Hills.
Got the move done then. As these two come up against the back marker. Pulls to the side, coming into Parabolica. So heading into the final lap, Ams is going to have to make the move going into this braking zone, I'd imagine. Audi v Audi. It's both late on the brakes. They keep the braking zone, keep the car into turn 1. What kind of exit can they get? Ams is very close there. He's going to make a move into the second chicane. He's going to make a late move to the inside, maybe. Whereas Stork are going to park that 32 Audi to the left. Ams to the outside. Stork to the inside. What kind of exit can they get? I think Stork has got a good exit. Heading into the Lesmos.
All difficult round outside of that second chicane to make a move stick.
Very much so. If you park your car right in the chicanes, it is hard to overtake. But Ams has got a great exit coming out the second Lesmo. He's going to go right up to the Ascari now, side by side. It's make or break. Oh, must have gone a little bit deep. Looks like Storico. Managed to keep it though, but Ams is going to have an absolute cracking run down through Parabolica. The side by side already. I think you're going to be on the outside here, I'd imagine. Get a better exit. As Ams tries to go to the inside. This is going to be a photo finish here. I think Ams has got the better drive. He has. Ams has got it. So, that's cool is your race winner. Ams takes second position on the final corner of Parabolica. Storico in third. Rob's going to come home in P4, who was also closely followed by Moss. Olimac is going to come home with a very good result of P6. Shortly followed by Lamaro. So P6 for Olimac, P7 for Lamaro. Good back-to-back races there for Lamaro. Hand of Nez in P9. And then quite a way back we have Liam Knott coming home in P9. Chris is coming across the finish line here in P18. And Darren Mark in 15th. Followed by Gilas at P20. And then we have Liam Knott, P9. Flashing lights, top 10 finish. Followed by the Honda of King of the Hills. And Elysium in 11th.
Oh, King of the Hills must have got back past Elysium then. I didn't see that.
Ah yes, swapped positions, didn't they? And then last driver across the line is Shadow Lancer in the 29th interview for P12. So that is your race for race 2 of the Pure Sim Gear Super Sprint Sunday. You've got a back-to-back winner of Das Cool, second place of Ams, and Storico third. That is your podium. So, Mark, thoughts on the races we've seen tonight?
Well, Das certainly made himself. He certainly made work of the first race, didn't he? Spinning of Ascari and letting Ams and Historical and Moss back in. But yeah, the second race, he certainly just sort of checked out, didn't he? Once he got the lead, he just sort of built that little gap over lap after lap, and then just finished 10 seconds in front of Ams.
Yeah, I think the second race was a lot more comfortable for Das. But the first race was extraordinary, really, watching those two go toe to toe.
I know, like I said, obviously Ams cut the first chicane, hence why he lost the lead to Das in the early stage of the race. I wonder that sort of cutting the chicane and bouncing over the chicane, whether he sort of sustained some damage on the Audi. and therefore could maybe sort of keep pace with Das throughout race 2.
So, is Das joining us for a post-race interview, or what's he doing?
Well, I've messaged him, but he hasn't messaged back yet. So maybe. Oh. Right. Let me just see if I can invite him. Chat. Invite him to chat.
Das, how you doing?
Yeah, we agree, Das, on the screen.
That's now it's okay.
Cool. So, congratulations on the 2 wins tonight. What's your thoughts on the races?
It's very hard to say. IMS is so fucking quick. Oh my! I am sweating. The race 2 when in the ASCAR when he hit the curve was a relax for me. Finally, I can breathe.
Yeah. I mean, the first race, you and Ans were just wheel to wheel, wasn't you?
Yeah, it was epic. That was brilliant race. Most of respect each other, but hard race.
Did you get some damage with the Ferrari in one of the races, or did you go wide at one point?
The race 1, when I did the curves, I did a spin and I hit the brakes very hard to stop the car to spin, and my tires were well gone. Was the 10 minutes I don't have any grip during break.
Ouch, that must have took a while to come back then.
With that 10 minutes I needed to always brake earlier to try after the corner I can go faster. My English is very good, I know.
No, it's fine. It's thank you for joining us for a little bit of a chat.
I was surprised how it is very, very quick in acceleration. It's impressive. Oh my god.
It is. It's very quick.
The fastest car I saw today during the acceleration process.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Tuesday as well with the rain.
Yeah. But thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Axel. For your passion and doing the share and doing the comms.
Yeah, it's no problem at all. It's good to watch it.
That's a beautiful way for the people to see.
Yes, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I would say, have you done much practicing for Tueaday Das on tackles in the rain? How is that?
I didn't do any laps. I did yesterday for ignition for both. I trained for today, and tomorrow I will train for to tackle. I don't want to mix things.
Got yeah. So just sort of do one race at a time.
I always train for the next race. I don't think the race again. Only if I don't want to. If I want to take that shampoo, that season chili. I don't train that.
Definitely. Well, you certainly got a lot of pace, mate. So yeah, well, good luck Tuesday, and
thank you.
Thank you.
And that's gonna be hard. I don't know it. It's night and rain.
Yes, night and rain.
I'm gonna take a look. But probably tomorrow. This weekend is only Monza. I'm tired.
Nah, definitely. Well, congratulations again, mate, and have a good rest of your Sunday. What's left of it.
Thank you for you both.
Yeah, good luck on Tuesday, Das.
Thank you for you
Cheers,
both
Das.
again.
Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
So, that was nice of Das to join us for a bit of a post-race interview. Apologies for those watching because there's a little bit of an echo. We've got a couple of mic issues tonight, but rest assured they will be fixed for next week. I hope it hasn't been too bad of an echo for you throughout tonight. But yeah, 2 cracking races, and just to finish off the stream, Mark, we head to America. We head stateside. It's going to be interesting to see how those tracks happen.
Oh, so yeah, because they changed, didn't they? They changed Tackle Tuesday PS5 calendar, didn't they? So yes. So what we got? What's the first race next week? Do you know what the first one is, Matt?
Yes, it's going to be Circuit of the Americas, COTA.
COTA. So yeah, I don't mind COTA. I think everyone's, well, certainly myself, is I think it's Indianapolis is the one I'm not looking forward to the most. It just looks a very it doesn't look like a very flowing track to me, unfortunately. Watkins Glen, as you know, it's just legendary. I think everyone loves Watkins Glen. And COTA's not so bad, is it really, as well? Reminds me a lot of Silverstone in a way.
Yeah, we had a fun race there the other week, which I'm just going to say I actually won by about 12 seconds, just an FYI.
Sorry, mate, Lewis, your break up there, mate. What was that? Sorry?
So no, I think it's going to be a good track for overtaking. I struggle with the third sector, the slow, not chicanes, hairpins. And the third sector is very technical. I just find it awkward to thread the car through there. The first sector is, once you get the car hooked up, it's great. It's very much like Maggots and Beckett's. You can fly through there. But no, I agree. Indy's going to be my challenging one because I only drove like 4 or 5 laps around there when I first got the DLC, but it doesn't seem very flowy.
No, not at all.
But
and of course we've got the corkscrew, haven't we, for 90 minutes in 4 weeks' time. So looking forward to that as well.
Yes, the famous corkscrew. The only corkscrew I'm used to is one opening my wine, so that is going to be interesting to see how I navigate that. But first up, we've got Taco Tuesdays, get out of the way of a wet and dark Monza. I think I've done a lot of practice, to be fair. I've done a bit of practice, and the car's feeling okay around there. I think it's not the rain that bothers me, not the darkness, it's the changeable conditions. Now, every time I've been on the server this week, within 15 minutes, it's changing conditions. So it's either going from wet to dry or dry to wet. So that's going to be, I think, the biggest challenge it's going to face the drivers this coming Tuesday. Yeah, I noticed there was a little bit of chatter about that on Discord about how often it was changing, whether that's going to be tweaked a little bit potentially. But yeah, it's going to be a hard race. I mean, for you personally, Mark, you're going to be looking for a better result, aren't you? Because the last 2 or 3 races, forgive me for mentioning, but it's been bad luck, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been. It's if it's not the rig playing up, it's my ability to drive the car in a straight line playing up. But yeah, it's really weird because I know we talk quite a lot, don't we? On and off comms, and apart from one race this season, either one of us have had a bad result and a good result, but never at the same time. So I think Monza. The thing is, I prefer the track. I don't mind Monza actually, and I'm looking forward to Tuesday. It's 90 minutes long, so we've got a lot of time to sort of build up our pace. It's not 30 minutes, not even 60 minutes, is it? So we've got a lot of time to sort of sort ourselves out the first few laps, and then then start getting into it really. The change of conditions will be tricky, but I also found, given how late it is, because it's in the dark, the track actually isn't drying that up isn't drying up very quickly. So
Right.
So despite it stops raining, the track remains wet for a good duration of time. So actually, you might find people actually just staying on the wet tyres until it rains again. So who knows? If we're lucky, it might be dry, but I doubt it.
Yeah, it's the thing is with changeable conditions, the hardest thing is the tyre pressures and making sure. I don't think no one can account for that. You can do practice on a wet track and get your pressures right for the wet track, and then you can do it vice versa for a damp track. But it's the in between, isn't it? That's where I think everyone's going to be in the same boat, just trying to manage the tyres as best as possible and trying to survive basically.
Yeah, no, definitely. My only win, shall I say, on Taco Tuesdays come last season at Suzuka, as it was, I was in the Ferrari and it was a wet race. Now, given obviously, I think it was Clays, I think it was, who's now in Tier 1. I think he had a bit of an issue, and I eventually got him. But again, that was very changing conditions, and not as much as Monza coming up, but it was still changing conditions, and both myself and Clays, we pitted later on because when the track was really starting to dry out and the temperature started to rise drastically on the wet tyres. So I think it's about if the track does dry out, it's obviously making that pit stop at the right time, and hoping it doesn't rain again, especially going to dry tyres, or vice versa, I suppose.
Yes. I was going to say something, but I've totally lost my train of thought. But no, you did manage to bring home a win last season, didn't you, in Taco Tuesday? So yeah, hopefully both of us have a good race, because as you said a few minutes ago, as a team we've not had a good result together yet this season. I've either binned it, or like last week, I brought it home in a podium position, but then you had issues with your wheel, I think. So, yeah, we both need a top 10 finish really to kind of have a good result for the team standings.
No, definitely. I think the thing is, mate, Tier 2, it's so competitive. I think most qualifying sessions, you've got less than a second between sort of 1st and 12th. So every 10th, I think it's going to count on qualifying on Tuesday.
Very much so. So to end tonight's stream, 2 cracking races at Monza, and thank you for those who have been watching us live. If you're watching back on catch up on post race, then please drop a like on the video, very much appreciated by FRL. And if you're not already subscribed, then guys, what you're doing, give your head a wobble, hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and yeah, stay tuned for some more live coverage from FRL. Just to remind you, as we've just been discussing, we've got Taco Tuesdays on Tuesday. We've got 3 tiers running on the PlayStation 5, with full commentary throughout on tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 by my fellow commentators. They all do an absolutely cracking job on Tuesday, so be sure to check out those streams on Tuesday. And then we have the Endurance League as well, the Friday Endurance League round 2 coming up in a short while, so keep your eye out for that. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the 2 races, and I will see you guys on track sometime soon. Take care all, have a good week, bye bye.